do. Welcome to Trimming the Fat, everyone. I'm Corey. We have Adam, Luke, and today we're going to be interviewing the real David Packer. So I found him on his videos. He's got some great footage. We're going to try to put a link below on the YouTube channel. We'll also try to put some stuff on the Facebook page. We should be live on Facebook right now. So anybody want to leave a comment, ask a question, go ahead. We'll try to do our best as we fumble through this, what we can. I have my YouTube channel, Life is Reality, going through our different weight loss journeys and everything. And I will kick it over to Adam.
Yep. I'm Adam, fat to chubby. Same thing. I mean, I release videos every Monday morning. I try to hit it around 9 o'clock Central, just talking about my journey, what I've learned along the way. I really didn't have any role models or anyone to look up to. So I'm trying to share everything that I learned on my path to lose 80 pounds and become healthy, just from, I guess, a fat person's point of view and the struggles they've been through. Luke?
Yeah, so I host a podcast called the Luke Loses Podcast. I'm documenting my weight loss. I started it as a accountability buddy, something in a journal, so I can look back if I'm struggling. And I got some good feedback from people saying that it was helping them, and I figured I would try to help as many people so they don't have to struggle like I did. So I started putting my stuff out.
So, David, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to kind of start things off, and then we'll just ask you all kinds of prying, weird questions just for the fun of it.
That sounds good. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for having me. My name is David Packer. I'm 32 years old. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. And let's see, what about me? So I started this year, January 1st, at 541 pounds. And I just was kind of done with being unhealthy, and I was just thinking about life a lot more and how I didn't want to, basically be on the path to an early death. So I've been working hard at it, and this year, as of yesterday, I was down 49 pounds. So, and I do post a weekly video update on my channel. It's every Sunday at around 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I've been doing that since the beginning of the year, and it's just been a lot of fun to meet people like yourselves and just people along the journey. There's so many. I realized there's such a community there that I had no idea, and everybody's so supportive, and it's been just really a lot of kind people that I've really enjoyed meeting.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that with what we're all doing with our platforms. Like for me, it's like no turning back. I put my stuff out, and I just open up to the world. So I don't want to let those people down that see it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we can't go back now. So I was watching some of your videos today. I really liked it. I want to touch on the cameos that you got.
Oh yeah.
You bought those get 3 guys. So that was pretty awesome. What gave you the idea to get a hold of them?
So for Cameo, for those who don't know, it's like an app where you can purchase a celebrity video, and I think most people use it for like getting birthday shout outs or random celebs to say hello to them. I just thought that it would be really cool to kind of kickstart the motivation. And as I say in the video, I'd been stuck at the same weight for like a couple weeks, and so just thought it'd be a fun way to get some inspiration. And I thought it'd make a good first video because that was my first video. And initially I had shot a video before that. I haven't released that video, but it was kind of me sitting in the desert, like saying who I am and all that. So I kind of reversed that and said, let's just dive into it, and then we'll talk about my story. I'll have like my journey video later on. So, but yeah, the video, I think it turned out great. Those 3 celebs that I have. The first one was Dennis Bermudez from the UFC. The second one was Grizz from 30 Rock. And then the third one was Shay Carl from YouTube. And I wanted to get people from 3 different aspects: Hollywood, sports, and then YouTube. And they just did such an awesome job. If anybody who hasn't seen it, I recommend to look at it, because they put so much thought and effort into, you know, telling me that I can do it and giving me advice. And it was just so sweet of them, even though they're, these big celebrities, to put in the effort.
Yeah, I've hired like 4 or 5 people off Cameo, and it's like maybe 3 minutes
Yeah.
videos. What's his name from the UFC, man? That was like a 6-7 minute video that he sent you. That
Yeah.
was pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And I have well, not a real connection with him, but I think he's local, trains out of around Arizona. And he also has a wrestling background, which I wrestled all through high school. So that, I think we kind of had that connection. I told him I was a wrestler. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
That went out. Yeah, I saw that your before picture as well. I guess when you were like super fit to where you're at
Yeah.
right now. And then I watched your video of how you're doing the 4 miles in 4 days.
Mhm.
And that was like, gave me flashbacks to when I was first starting, right? I didn't touch a scale for years and years and years, but I knew that I had to get up and move, right? So I'd get up every morning and just walk. And it'd be like, okay, if I can make it to that the next light, the next street light, okay, then tomorrow I'll go like to the next one and to the next one. I was like, those videos really kind of hit home for me and reminded me of kind of the roots and where I've been and where I've come to now. But I guess jumping into the interview part of it, I mean, I saw that one. I guess you were in a jersey and you're pretty fit, and obviously you wrestled in high school. I mean, where do you think everything went off the rails? I mean, and it got you to where you're at. And it's awesome that you're coming back around and you have such just a positive, like just chill demeanor about it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely try to. Yeah, so it is kind of unique how I came to be where I'm at, because I was not ever, super overweight, or even not much at all overweight during growing up and through high school and all that. I was pretty fit, and so this happened in my 20s, where I gained all my weight basically. And it kind of relates to, I've heard, I think a few of you talk about some things that are similar, where in my 20s, I don't know why necessarily, it was kind of like a quarter life crisis. I kind of fell into a depression for years and years. And it just like, I didn't hang out with anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. And all my hobbies kind of just like, I stopped doing my hobbies. I like to play music and ukulele and all that. And just all of that went away. And it was like your life was kind of like in gray. And so that was, those years of just like eating and eating and eating and just gaining weight. And I think, I have no idea why, but it's like in the last year, everything came, like shed off of me. Like the depression's gone. I feel like life is in color again. So I'm getting back in. Now I have the motivation to do these hobbies. Like I've always loved making videos. That's why I do them now. As a teen, I was making videos with my brother. I'm back into music, and now I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta take back my life again with the weight. So it's like I have no idea again why it happened in the first place and why it's gone now. But I think that mental part, and I think last week your all's episode was about the mentality, but of gaining weight and losing weight. But it's definitely something that I didn't. I wish I hadn't gone through in a way, but I've definitely learned a lot from that experience, and I'm confident. I like to kind of put myself out there that I know I'm going to get back to a healthy weight.
Yeah, I would definitely say you have that calm confidence about you, even in your videos. It shows through because just how your persona is. I mean,
Thank you.
you're not anxious or like I am. I'm just kind of like just stuff's just coming out of my mouth, right? So it seems very well thought out and very well put together and pre-planned, which is a good thing. And kudos to you, man. I mean, if you are on the other side of this and you've already realized, okay, something's changed mentally, and you have the insight to say, okay, look, I don't know what happened, but I'm totally embracing this, and let's go. Let's keep going, keep going. So you said you've lost about 50 pounds, right? 51.
Yeah, I'm 1 pound shy of 50. Yeah.
Right. So you've now lost 10% of your body weight.
Mhm.
What's
Yeah.
the biggest thing you've noticed? The biggest change or what's the best thing that's become easy for you now?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I've noticed I'm kind of less achy, just overall in my movement. Um, what else? Okay, so I I'm kind of in talks with a doctor. I had one appointment, but I need to do some follow-ups. And one of the things that's always been an issue for me, and it's related to my back, I think, is when I stand up or walk too long, my legs go numb. So it's kind of annoying to deal with that, and it made walking hard. But as I've lost weight, it's still slightly there, but it's become a lot less, where it takes a long time. And even if it goes numb, it's like a little numb. So I'm really excited about that kind of not having to be an issue anymore. Um, so that, yeah, that one was big. And honestly, I'm just playing with my kids a lot more. And because I got three young kids, and so before I would not want to like do anything active with them, like going to the park. I would find any excuse not to go to the park. And now I'm down for, let's go play, let's go hang out.
That's awesome. I know with
Oh yeah.
watching some of your videos and stuff, especially at over 500 pounds, still moving and stuff that you are, I was kind of amazed because I know at my like 450, 460 ranges last time, the pain is, I don't think anybody can understand the pain that can go with that kind of obesity
Mhm.
and, every joint. I mean, getting so broad up here that your shoulders start separating out. Most people don't realize that obesity comes with such pain. To see somebody getting out and moving and stuff, they don't realize that the stress that is to do so, or just to go for that montage of a walk. I mean, you had to walk back and get that camera. I mean, what you're showing,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more to that than what most people realize. They watched, a 15-minute video, 20-minute video or something. And, I'm sitting there thinking, man, this guy put hours into this. How is he not just panting on camera all the time? I really loved the work. I thought it was great. And just going around that, I think more people need to realize that you're gonna hurt for a while, but the reward doesn't take that long to realize that it's better than Tylenol. A month of weight loss is better than what you can put for a pain relief pill.
Right, right. Yeah, I saw somebody on Instagram post. I don't remember who it was. They said, working out is hard, dieting is hard, but being overweight is really hard too. So you gotta pick your hard. And
Yep.
so, yeah, I'm definitely trying to pick the hard that's putting me on the right track.
Yeah, and my thought on it is like you were saying, being in pain. Um, even if it's one day, 1 month, 1 year of trying to get to our goal, like don't stop, because even at 1 day of pain, you put that work in,
Mhm.
work for that reward, even if it's 5 pounds off, 10 pounds off, or like the pain to go away.
Mhm.
You're there, just keep it up, and it'll definitely be worth it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I've had lower back issues, knee issues, so no, I definitely agree. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was gonna say for me, like I used to get a lot of pain and soreness from working out. And it took a few months. And then finally I got adapted to that pain. And maybe it's just me because I'm a little demented, but I used to try to chase that pain. Like I'm like, what's going on? It doesn't hurt anymore. It should be hurting constantly. Why is this not hurting? And I'd be pushing myself to work out more and longer and do more distance or whatever it may be to try and find that pain again. And a lot of it was because I was losing weight and everything else didn't hurt all the time. It was a very weird thing that I'm now realizing that it was pretty damn psychotic. But
Mhm. Yeah, there's almost always some sort of pain going on at my size, that's for sure. Yeah.
and how tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
You're 5'10".
Yeah. Mhm.
Gotcha. Let's see. You and Luke could definitely dunk on Corey and I then, so we're fine.
Yeah,
A
I'm the short.
little good.
I'm the short, stocky one, or one of them. I don't. How tall are you, Adam?
I'm 5'6" in a good day. 5'6" in a
Okay.
good
Yeah.
day. So
I,
Yeah,
so
I
am
think
I.
you guys are
Well,
the
if I'm
same,
wearing my-
aren't you? Yeah.
yeah, especially if I'm wearing my platform.
This conversation.
yeah,
David, walk us through a day for you. Like, what does your workout routine look like? What does your diet look like? What are you eating?
Mhm.
I seen the video you uploaded for the food that the fast food that you picked. You ranked it and all that. And by the way, real quick, those videos are awesome. I love your editing on it. How you can. I want to learn how to do all that stuff where you pop up the nutrition and all that. I'm computer illiterate or whatever you want to call it. I'm horrible with it. My camera goes out 6 or 7 times trying to record these, so I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, what does your day look like? What do you do for exercise? What do you do for eating?
Yeah, so I'm real lucky that I have a very supportive wife. And so when I told her, okay, what I want to start out with is just a caloric restriction, the CICO, some people call it, calories in, calories out. But I knew that because my weight was so high to start with, I didn't want to go right into exercise. I just wanted to lose weight initially with the calorie restriction. So I went on some website and it said I could eat like 3,300 calories and still lose weight. And I was like, oh gosh, okay. But I was like, let's just start at 2,000 and see how I feel. So that's pretty much what I've been doing this whole year is I'll have 500 calories for breakfast, 500 calories for lunch, and then 1,000 calories for dinner. And like I said, my wife, she's real good about. She'll make me a salad for lunch because I work a 9 to 5 as an insurance adjuster Monday through Friday. So she's real great at helping me prep. And so yeah, a lot of salads for lunch, and then for breakfast I'll have like overnight oats or a protein bar or shake. And then for dinner, she's usually making something that's relatively healthy. We eat a lot of like roasted veggies and some sort of light meat, like maybe some salmon or something like that. So she's on the nutrition. And then as far as exercise, like I said, for the most part, I've tried to keep it pretty low impact just because I don't want to hurt myself. So it's either going to be like a lot of walking, especially late at night, because I usually go after the kids are in bed and all that. So it'll be like a 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night walk out. And I was super, you mentioned, filming, leaving the camera behind. I was super scared because I got like a $5,000 camera. I'm leaving it on the side of the road and walking like over here. So hoping somebody doesn't steal it. But yeah, so yeah, working out late at night is what I'm doing so far in combination with the calorie restriction.
Awesome.
Mhm.
man, you're up and moving, and that's what all. It's really all that matters. And I know that everyone's different. It's one thing that I tell a lot of my friends. I'm like, for me, I'm an early morning workout person because that's the only time I know I'll do it for me.
Mhm.
But if you have time after dinner and after the kids go to bed, I mean, that's awesome too, because it's going to kickstart your metabolism overnight too.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I've always been a night owl. I've always worked usually like second shift to like midnight. So midnight, I try to keep midnight around that my bedtime. But yeah, late night workout usually works best for me. Mhm.
Cool.
Pull this up real quick.
Hey, Luke, aren't you prepared with questions? Luke's our most experienced interviewer.
Oh man. So what's the hardest part of this journey so far?
Well, that's a good question. I'd say staying on top of doing what I need to do every day because, and that's what I tried to tackle in one of my, I think a 2 weeks ago video where I talked about mentality as well of losing weight and gaining weight too, because it's so easy. Some days I'm on fire and I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go out and work out. I'm going to do all the right things. And then some days I'm just like not feeling it at all. And I'm like, I got so much to do and I just want to eat something that's not, healthy. And so I think keeping motivated and keeping disciplined has been something that is probably the hardest. Just the ups and downs of staying on track. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think if there was any other part of it that was difficult. Honestly, at this point, I'm pretty used to the calorie restriction, so that part's not that hard for me anymore. It was definitely at the start. That was hard to cut down to that. I was not happy about that, but hmm, yeah, I'd say it's just the ups and downs of motivation.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that calorie, man, that's hard. I counted mine before I started trying to eat better, and I was up to like 7,000 calories in one
Oh,
day.
Easy.
And my app, yeah, like I think maybe we talked about it in our interview, Adam, on my show, or it might have been TJ after you, but it's so easy to rack up that calorie count, like especially if you start your day off with a Monster and some Reese Big Cups, and then move into McDonald's for lunch or whatever, and a calzone for dinner. It's ridiculous how easy it is to get to that amount of calories, and you're still hungry.
mhm.
Um, so would you say that was the thing that was the hardest in the beginning, was the to cutting back on your intake?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I never went to any kind of like therapist. I know some people that works well, like a professional counselor or something like that for food addiction. I'm sure there's probably a benefit to that, and maybe one day I will look into that. But yeah, breaking that addiction, because food really became an emotional connection for me, where I was stressed out or whatever, I would just binge on this food, and it really brought a lot of comfort, in my mind. So um yeah, I would say at the beginning, cutting down the calories was hard, and not having as much, because I'm not a sweets guy. I don't like desserts. Well, they're okay, but I don't like snacks. I want to eat a lot of hearty stuff, and so that was hard not to do that.
So what was your go-to
Yeah,
for a binge then?
So my go-to meal was at McDonald's. I would get three triple cheeseburgers, large fries, a large chocolate shake, and a large Coke, and then 20-piece McNuggets. So that was like the full meal, and that's probably a lot of calories. I know
yeah.
one time I ate two full Costco pizzas, and that must have been like thousands as well. So, yeah, Costco pizza, McDonald's, Taco Bell. I mean, I still want to go to these places all the time. And I think some people, I know different people have different approaches. I was talking to a buddy of mine that I grew up with, and he's a doctor of physical therapy, and he was saying it's okay to still have those things. Just if in this example, like if I went to McDonald's, just get the one triple cheeseburger, and then maybe get like the fruit side, and then a diet drink, so you can still have the things you love. Just cut it back.
Yeah, but if you've been eating clean for the past 3 months and you went back and had McDonald's, your bowels are not gonna like you at all.
That's true.
'Cause-
Yeah.
Because that's
Be
what I
in
did,
range
man.
of that toilet.
Right, 100%. You have a 15-minute window, man. I guarantee it. But for me, that's what I did. I mean, I went super clean for the first 3 months. I dropped a ton of weight. I work with a doctor that's a non-surgical weight loss, obesity doctor for my weight loss. And there's times now that so I've dropped 80 pounds. I've had it off for about a year and a half now, and sometimes I've gone back to the restaurants now that they're kind of reopening here, and I'm like, I just instinctually order the same thing I used to order when I was much, much heavier. And I'll still eat it. Don't get me wrong. I can still get it down, but then I feel like complete hammered dog poop for like 3 or 4 days. I mean, it literally rocks my body in the worst kind of way, where I feel it in my joints, my face is all inflamed. It's like almost like it's worth it, but not worth it. Because for me, it's like, okay, it was so good to kind of relive those physical and mental memories of that food and how it hit me the right way. And I was like, okay, that felt great. But then it was a reminder of like how far I've come. And why I've made those changes, because literally I'd feel it in my knees and my elbows, and it would hurt because they're inflamed. But damn, man, that extra meat burrito covered in queso with the rice and cheese and everything else, like, yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah, you're making me hungry.
All right.
Yeah, I went to Denny's
But-
yesterday with my dad, and I was really proud of myself because normally my go-to there is a chicken fried steak, and that's like one of my weaknesses. But I just had like 4 scrambled eggs, 4 pieces of turkey bacon, and then a side of fruit. And it wasn't as tasty as what I wanted, but it's nice to be able to, okay, when I want to make the other decision, I can and try to fit it in, or when I want to make something lighter, I can do that too.
Awesome. So, David, off topic a little bit, but your YouTube channel, since we all appreciate it and stuff, what are your plans on that? Do you have like projected goals that you're trying to hit, or, you know, what are you wanting to do with that?
Well, that's a good question. I love YouTube, and I would love, I mean, my wildest dream would be that it could be like almost like a part-time job where I make videos there, I have monetization, or maybe products that I really believe in that I have like a sponsor link to. And so that would be a part-time job. And then my other part-time job could be, I don't know, something else I like. But that would be honestly my wildest dream, is being able to bring some income to make it a part-time job. Um, but also, you know, a lot of the YouTube creators that I watch, they all say the same thing, that yes, it's good to focus on what you want as well, but it's also good to focus on what you're bringing to people. So they said also, if you want to grow your content, if you want to grow your subscribers, you need to focus on what you're giving people. And so that's something that I always have in the back of my mind when I'm making these videos is, how can this help somebody else out in my situation or a similar situation? Can we build a community of people in my channel that have are supporting like the community you all have with this podcast and with your individual channels? Can we build a community that helps support each other and through the ups and downs? So, but yeah, I'd say that's the long-term goal. I have other long-term goals outside of YouTube that I could tell you about if you like, but yeah, that's the goal within YouTube.
What are your other goals?
Oh yeah.
Keep going, man. You're on a roll.
So again, this is like in my wildest dream. I don't know if this will ever happen, but I know I was mentioning to you guys in the chat the other day that I want to lose the 300 pounds, so I'd get down to 240, and then I want to open up some sort of clinic or some sort of nonprofit where we help people out that are struggling with weight and obesity, whether it be children, adults, whoever. And we have on staff, you know, like 5 nutritionists, like 15 trainers, and we use that nonprofit government grants or donations, and we help people in the area. We could even hold events or go to schools and give talks. I could share my story at that point and be like, you know, here I was at 540, here I'm at 240, and explain the importance of nutrition and exercise, and maybe help combat kids from falling into the same thing I did. So those are like the wildest dreams that would be really cool one day.
And see, I can get behind that 100% because I've always had the thought in the back of my head, if there was a place that, like a spa, that you could go to, that everything there is all good, you know, that you don't have to worry about what you eat. It's, you know, all healthy, great choices, everything prepared to the T of fantastic food. Because I know that's where a lot of people struggle is, you know, you can only cook broccoli so many ways and make it taste amazing. You know,
Salt,
but
pepper, and garlic.
right. But if you have that ability, I've always thought, man, it'd be great to have that personalized chef or that personalized stuff or those activities to where, you know, in an environment that was fun, enjoyable, but wasn't necessarily, you know, like a boot camp kind of thing, more of a like a, hey, this is your breakfast, here's your choices, what do you want? You want to go for a swim with me, you know, have some nice hot girl that wants to walk you around the block. Let's go for another round. You know?
Well, I
Sign
think
me up.
that's a really good point, because I know that for me, like, I didn't understand food and how it worked and how it affected my body, right? I didn't understand what calories are good, what fats are good. I had no idea any of that stuff. Like, there's a point in my life where I thought McDonald's was okay for you to eat. Like, why would this not be okay for me to eat? It's there and it's available, right? But no, I think that's good. I mean, the both of Corey, you know, you and David's like vision. We don't know that, and that part of I guess our education growing up in public schools, when we should learn about good foods and bad foods, and the old food pyramid, and it's never really broken down like that, right? I guess we kind of did miss that part of home economics or cooking class or whatever it might be, where they left out like healthy food can taste good. It's all about how you prepare it, or you can go get this delicious cheeseburger for $1.
Right. Yeah, food is definitely a challenge this day and age. Of course, you guys know me. I get pretty strict or on a pretty direct challenge on some of that. But I think the misconceptions of food and what our body actually needs is a lot different than what most people, generally are ever taught or educated with. Because, food at McDonald's, and you'll hear me say it 1,000 times, was engineered. It was designed. It wasn't hey, this burger is great. No, this burger is good, but it's not going to satisfy you to make sure that you want another one of those burgers. It's, that's their whole goal. You don't want to sell something that somebody's 100% satisfied with. You want sell something that somebody wants another one with because it didn't have the long-term satisfaction. But I'll get off my
We
soapbox
talk
on
about
that.
We talk about that a lot. It's actually one of my episodes for my podcast I want to do. I've started doing the research on it because Adam's talked about it a lot as well. The how food is evolved and made anymore, and even like the ease of access of getting the food is ridiculous. When I was a kid, the only thing we could get delivered to a house, it wouldn't come to my house because we lived out in the boondocks, but pizza. And now you've got an app on your phone where any time of day, if you want tacos or whatever, somebody will bring it to you. And it definitely makes it hard to live a healthy life.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
David,
that's the thing. Go ahead,
go
Luke.
on. I was
Please.
gonna change it back. No, if you're gonna talk about that, let's talk about that.
No, I just said that, during the pandemic, it was kind of a missed opportunity for a lot of people not to learn how to cook and cook right. I mean, like tonight, my mom's in town, so I threw a couple of pork loins in that cast iron. I just seasoned them up, threw a little extra virgin olive oil. I seared in the cast iron, popped in the oven. I tossed some okra and some EVOO, some salt and pepper, and made some rice, and it was done. Right, super, very, very delicious meal, very low calorie. You can eat a ton of it, and be super satisfied, and it tastes good, and you're still hitting your caloric goals for the day, and you had a big meal. But
Hey, real quick, I
Definitely.
want to shout out to everybody on Facebook because we got a few more people that are following. We appreciate you.
geez.
Thanks for showing up. Yep. You gotta appreciate
Always
that.
business.
That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
Corey, you always bring us back on track.
Well, somebody has to. I'd hate to see where that train could go if we couldn't stay on some kind of tracks.
Right.
Tracks.
So we've talked a little bit about your YouTube and stuff. With your weight loss, have you set a time frame that you want to go on, or is it just I'm gonna relax and see where it comes when I get there?
So I do have ideally a goal in mind. I set a goal in my mind of 150 pounds on average each year, because that would put me at 300 down at the 2-year mark. But honestly, it's not written in stone, because I know that's a lot of weight, and I do want to lose it uh, slowly and steadily. I don't want to have any kind of crash where I'm gonna rebound. Everybody talks about like a lifestyle change of your, how you eat and how you exercise. So I am trying to do that change. So yeah, I mean, if it takes longer, I'm okay with that. I do at times feel that's one of the things I do struggle with is now that I've kind of shed the depression and shed all these things and I'm full of life again, I'm like, man, I just want to be fit again right now, but or like in a couple months, but I put it on, pound by pound over years, and that's the same way it's going to come off. And so I'm trying to be patient. But yeah, ideally in about 2 years, and then we'll see at that point what the excess skin is like, whether we need to have skin removal surgery, things like that. So that's all kind of in the back of my mind.
Your future speak is awesome, man. You already have this planned out. That's fantastic.
That's what I was gonna say earlier. Like
Yeah.
it's not if, it's always that when.
Yeah, the vision
I
board
love
is
that.
made up 100%. But I'll share with you, David, the one thing I told these guys last week, a week before, but when I was working with my doctor, after I lost 50 pounds, she made me stop for 3 months. Like she made me level out. Like you have to maintain, you lost 50 pounds, maintain this for 3 months so that your body, your brain, and all your systems can catch up. And then you can ramp it back up again. And, I did research into it, even though, this is what she does for a living. I believed her, but it was like, I started thinking about all the other times I'd try to lose weight, I'd lose a bunch and then I'd gain it all back. And so, take your time with it, man. I mean, I think your mentality is right. It took you 20 years or 10 or 15 years to get to where you're at. It's going to take, not that long to get it off, but it's going to take a fraction of that for sure.
Yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot of like those Biggest Loser shows. I don't think I've ever seen
Don't.
like a yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a
I
full
love 'em.
episode.
Dude, they piss me off so much, man. They
Yeah.
don't teach you anything. Sorry, I'll stop because I'm about to go on a rant, man. Just don't, man. It's like you take someone that knows nothing about nothing and you put them in a situation where they work out 8 hours a day and they can only eat like 400 calories a day. Of course, they're going to lose weight. They learn absolutely nothing. Yeah, they lose a ton of weight. It looks really cool for TV, but all those people after, like, was it like 99% of them afterwards have gained all the way back? Plus, comes because they never get taught anything. I like Trainer Bob, don't get me wrong, but Jillian is such a bitch, man. Like, if I had a trainer like her, if I was paying someone to yell at me, I'd be like, no, bro, that's not how this works, dude. Like, you're doing it the wrong way. I'd quit. I would quit. I'd demand a refund. It just wouldn't work for me.
Well, I want to throw a little
love
bit
'em.
more in there on that. Bob had a heart attack at 51 years
Yep.
old. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
he's
was in
a
great shape.
trainer,
Yeah.
but you also have to look at the food count. I know a lot of people start saying, this and that. You can exercise and physically look fine, but what you're feeding yourself, you have all these organs that, granted, we're resilient, but they can only handle so much. And his food choices, even today, he'll tell you his food choices, even though they were healthy per guidelines or whatever, led him to a heart attack.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But anyways,
That
enough of
stuff's
Biggest
gonna
Loser.
clog you up. No matter how long you're in the gym, if you eat the stuff that's gonna clog your arteries, it's gonna clog your arteries whether you get on the elliptical for an extra 20 minutes or not.
Absolutely.
Get your physical, boys and girls. Get your physical.
Yeah.
I have mine scheduled for a week from tomorrow.
I'm going to wait for like another month and go back in and make my doctor have a heart attack. So that's my goal.
There you go. I didn't get a physical for 10 years, man. I knew something was wrong. I was like, nah, that's cool. I can still deadlift like 600 pounds. That's cool. I don't need one. And then I finally got one and I had to face my fears dead on.
My thought was if I don't go to the doctor, they can't tell me I'm diabetic. They can't tell me this. So I'm obviously not diabetic. If the doctor didn't tell me, has nothing to do with not going to the doctor for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm not diabetic. I just get really, really cranky when I don't eat all the time.
I've passed out.
I'm not diabetic. You're diabetic.
Oh man. David, what's some advice or tips that you'd give to somebody that's just starting off? What things have worked for you that you would like to pass along to somebody else?
I'd say to find some sort of eating nutrition goal that works for you, because for me the calorie restriction has been working and I still feel great. And so it's working for me. But I know that that's not necessarily the only approach that I can take. I know that calories are important to keep track of, but some people just want to like do like intermittent fasting and they don't track the calories, or maybe that works for them, or maybe they do keto, or whatever you decide that you want to do, just do that. And if it works for you, then that's great, and I support that. The other thing I was talking to a friend about was that, because I played football through high school too, and one of the defense schemes that I think that we use, I don't know if this is popular all throughout football, it probably is, but it's called like the bend don't break. So I think it's typically when it's late in the game and you're trying to allow the opponent to get short yardage but not long yardage. So I think the same type of mentality applies, like I was talking before, where there's going to be ups and downs on your journey. You can bend but don't break. Just keep those end goals in sight. And like that UFC fighter said in my video, where he talked about writing down your goals, I think that that's also an important thing, because then you have a written, measurable goal that okay, this is what I'm working toward. This is my big picture. I'm not huge into like, like, oh, the secret or whatever. Like I'm not huge into this kind of thing, but I do believe, and that's one of the things that I have done in my journey, is speaking out what I intend. And even though, because a lot of times on the weight loss journey, you see people at the end that they start the YouTube, or at the end where they share it. But I wanted to share it up front and say, I'm at the beginning of it. And I'm going to state my intentions to anybody, to the world. This is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. So I think it's okay to state your intentions. I would even encourage somebody, if they felt like it wouldn't detract from the time and the work of losing weight, to even start like a podcast or a YouTube show, or whatever you prefer, a blog, whatever you want. Because I know for me, it's definitely helped keep me accountable, because I know I want to have a great video at the end of the week. I want to have success that I share with everybody. And ultimately, I think at the end of the day, I'm losing it for me. But I also want to show my success and be accountable to the public as well. So I think that's a great idea to should share something if you feel like that would help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
I was kind of on the similar path, but this is a multiple time that I've lost weight. That last time when I was down where I was is I have another YouTube channel that, is monetized and everything. And I wanted to share a little bit more, but its direction was completely in a different category. But I always ran in the back of my head that if I ever screwed up and I ever got back to the spot, that was going to be my goal, is from this absolute worst place that I know how dark and how much of a deep hole it can seem like. That's where I wanted to start at, just so people can see that, if you look at my whole cycle of things, I've had huge failures, and I want to be able to present that later on to show that, yeah, it happens and it sucks and it's bad. But just because you feel like you're in this just dark, dark place doesn't mean that you have to stay there. And that's where I wanted to start things at, is yeah, it's that dark, it's that bad, but there is light here. There are people that, are in this situation, and everybody who's had a successful weight loss journey has started in that spot. And I think it's fantastic that, David, you started there and being like, yes, it's a struggle, but showing that I'm going to get out and move. I'm going to go do these things, and the dedication and stuff. I think that's so much more worthwhile than somebody who's already skinny and fit being like, hey, I did this journey and everything looks great. And it's like, that's good, but I don't know about you guys. I've seen enough stuff out there. Half the time you're like, really? Did you really do that?
Leave me out of this, okay?
Well, going back to The Biggest Loser, that's why I love it, is you can follow that journey, right? So you see these people come in huge, and over the weeks following them, and that's what I like about all our stuff, is that people can be there with us for the ride. And for me, if one person decides to change their life, if one person decides, I want to live a healthy lifestyle because of something I did or something I said. That like that's more than gold. You know, I would, if I can help somebody not struggle the way that I have, I'm on cloud nine, you know.
100%. And it's 100% the reason that I started the whole Fed the Chubby thing. And I'll give all three of y'all just a ton of credit because I didn't have the balls, the brass balls that you did to start a channel early on mine. Because for me, I already lost like 30 pounds, and I was like, I need to be accountable. So I just started taking pictures of my feet and scale and posting on my Instagram. Right? I always like, luckily no one had any foot fetish for my big fat Flintstone feet, but you know, that's how it was for me. It was my Friday accountability, my Friday weigh-ins. And I didn't have the audacity, you know, I didn't have the confidence in myself or the journey this time around to start a channel and make videos. I wish I would have, man. But now, since I'm on the other side, that's why I started it. I was like, I have to find a way to connect to other people that are going through this that don't have a positive role model. Not that I'm the best role model in the world. I mean, yeah, I still slip up and, I'm a real life person, but like we've all talked about before, I was so tired of seeing that one person from high school that was at 120 pounds that gained like 15 pounds of muscle, that was jacked. It's now an Instagram trainer. I'm like, dude, you don't know what hurts. You don't know how hard it is. And it's, you can't relate. You can't, I mean, yeah, you might know how to do the perfect supination curl, but like you don't know how hard it is for me to even get from here to the gym to hear you try just to critique me about stuff. So
Yeah, I think it's easy when you're overweight. That's just something I've been thinking about a lot recently, is like it's so easy to fall into the dark thoughts. And so dark thoughts could be anything. Like I've had them where like I'm like, oh, I don't deserve this promotion, or I don't deserve this nice job, I don't deserve nice clothes, I don't deserve, to be. So it's really easy to fall into that kind of negative self-talk. And so I think that's one reason why the community that you all have, that we're building individually as well, it's definitely I think helping people out. Like Luke was saying, I've had people message me, and they just, even already, even though I've only been at this for like a month or so, people message me, especially on Instagram, and they're like, hey, you're really inspiring me, or like I've had some people, can we meet up? Or so it's definitely meant a lot to me to see that.
Absolutely. Now, David, can you share things that are, I know we all talk about like little goals, little things, or little achievements. Can you name a couple of things that even just in the short time, you're only what, 2 full months in, what are some like little achievements or little goals or things that when you look at may seem extremely small, but put a little smile on your face, give you a little bit more ambition or a little bit more stoking the fire of, you know, I can do X that
Mhm.
just seems remedial to others.
Yeah, I could definitely think of a couple of things. So one thing is, at my size, I was starting to kind of like touch my steering wheel a little bit, and so that, yeah, it was feeling like really
100% been
not.
there.
Yeah, and so it was feeling really not safe when I was driving. I'm like, I'm like scraping my belly, and that's probably not the safest way to drive. So now that I'm down about 50 pounds, it's like way better. I'm like sometimes I barely touch it, but for the most part, it doesn't touch anymore. So that feels a lot safer, and that's like a little victory. Um, let's see what else.
That's a big victory.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And then the other day I went walking with my dog during lunch, and I was like, man, I would have never have done that. I always was, my wife was like, hey, let's go on a family walk all the time. And I would always find a way to be like, no, I don't know, my back's hurting, or I don't want to. But now it's amazing to get these little victories where I want to go on it, because I'm like, A, it's gonna help me, B, it makes the wife happy. And once you get out there, it's enjoyable. So yeah, I'd say that's another little victory, is getting out more, definitely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah, and you have the confidence to get out more too. You're
Yeah.
more comfortable in your own skin. I mean, I know that For me now, one of my big ones is I'm finally comfortable sitting in a booth.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm not there
Yeah.
yet. When I said, like I said, when I went to Denny's, I'm like, I can't quite fit in that booth yet, but I'm working on it.
I just Friday drove my Jeep home that I haven't driven in over a year because I wouldn't be able to fit into it. I got a 1988 Jeep. It's basically the beginning year of the Cherokees, but when it was owned by, or right as Chrysler took
AMC?
over. Yeah, it's not the Wagoneer, not the big Wagoneer, but it's like a Wagoneer. Anyways, if y'all know how small the Cherokee is, the original one to get into, just like that. But it was the first time in over a year that I actually was able to get in and drive that. I was kind of happy about that.
Mhm.
That's
Speaking
awesome.
of touching steering wheels, yeah, it's one of those where it's my belly's moving as I'm trying to turn it here, fighting and getting all animated there. So I'll calm down now.
Yeah, I've had that where I've been touching the steering wheel, and the thing that pops in my head is, what if my airbag goes off? What's going to happen to me in that moment? Um, but even like those tiny victories that that normal people would say are small little things that they wouldn't think about. Um, they make such a huge difference. And like me, I've got bad anxiety. I'm social anxiety. I hate going out and being around other people because I think I project my thoughts and think they think I'm some fat slob or whatever the case may be. But even when I started this weight loss, they don't know that I'm doing it. I'm still a big guy, but like to me, I don't think that they think those bad things about me anymore. It's more like I know I'm doing it, and I'm like, I don't know. It's a weird feeling, and it's hard to explain. But um, yeah, I cannot wait to shake my anxiety and stuff. Like you said, yours is all starting to or fading away, and I absolutely love that. And those little victories, man, they add up. And for me, I'm down a shirt size, and I feel more comfortable in it, and that just it boosts that confidence, that great feeling right up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything else we want to touch on, guys?
Well, I'm sure we could touch on all kinds of things.
Well,
Steering
I'm out of
wheels.
I'm out of my wrote down questions.
You're out of your questions. You only had like 3.
There's like 7.
I'm sure I took some.
Well, maybe. Well, David, what would be the most inspirational thing that you've heard or that you've come to that you would want to share with people?
Hmm, let's see. It's a good question. Let's see. I think that probably the most touching thing that's happened is just like so many people that I grew up with and my family and friends reaching out and supporting me in so many ways. So when I first made my first video, I posted on my personal Facebook, and just the outpouring, because I hadn't posted on Facebook in years. And so a lot of these people probably didn't know that I had gained hundreds of pounds since they last saw me. And it's something that I was kind of ashamed of, to have that change. But um just like the outpouring of support was insane. And like I said, my family, they're so sweet to me. It was my birthday last week, and so my wife got me this Versa 3. My brother got me this Garmin. My sister and them, they got me like an air fryer, like a really nice Ninja air fryer. So it's like, it's so crazy to me that it's just overwhelming emotionally to get so much support, when it's like you didn't even, I wasn't at a certain point even putting in the effort on myself. So the fact that other people care and put in the effort, it was really touching.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
It definitely restores a lot of faith in humanity that I think a lot of people, when they get in that dark hole or whatever, don't realize that just because you come to a point where you've basically given up on yourself doesn't mean that everyone else has given up on you. And I think being able to look at that and realize, I think is a huge stepping stone where most people need to be able to see. And that's a wonderful, wonderful example of how, your friends and your family, just by you taking that huge step of posting a video on Facebook, of there are people out there that still love you and care about you and, want the best for you. That's pretty big. And I think that a lot of people need to hear that and realize that half the reason why I do that now is because I want to be that for somebody. I don't know that you're in trouble unless you ask. And I think all of us at some point in time don't have a problem of, being that emotional support. We aren't here to make money off of it. We aren't trying to be that internet trainer guy. We're the same people that are struggling, that, the whole reason for this entire podcast thing we got going is this is my therapy session as well. This is my group of guys who, care about me and my involvement. And I think that's what bases a great community on.
I always say it's a struggle bus, not a struggle unicycle. I mean, the thing, that's the thing. People think they're in this journey by themselves, and so many of us are in there, and we're being silent about that. And one thing that I'm proud about, all the four of us, and we've all done it independently and kind of come together to have this conversation. But we're getting out there and we're sharing the word. We're normalizing that it's okay to talk about this, right? Talk about this journey and how hard it is, and we all have different takes on it, and we all have different spins on it, but we're all on the same journey. And let's learn from each other. Let's talk about it. It's okay to talk about it. It's more people need to do that, and just by simply saying that I've got a problem, or I need help, or this is what I did, or I slipped up, it helps. It's that cathartic piece of it, right? It's therapy. Just getting it out there helps. I mean, you'll be able to sleep better tonight. You'll be able to start tomorrow and make better decisions because you got it off your chest finally. That's like, whatever it is. I mean, whether it's a eating thing or a binging thing or bulimia or anorexia or whatever it is, whatever disorder you may have. I mean, just by sharing it with someone, by having the ability to do that and the channel to do that, it's crazy for your mental health.
Oh
Yeah, I was watching a clip of Craig Ferguson, like one of his old talk shows, and he was talking about during the time of Britney Spears when she was like struggling, and he was talking about his own alcoholism, and he said just a few things that I was like, okay, some of this really translates over to what I'm dealing with obesity and being overweight, where he said, he said a few things like you can't beat it with money, talking about alcoholism. I'm like, same thing with weight. You can't beat it. Maybe some money will help with certain things like getting trainers or getting right food or whatever, but you can't ultimately beat it with money. He said that the only thing he's found that helped him with his alcoholism was being around others that were going through the same thing. So I definitely kind of related that to obesity. I'm like, yeah, it's been so nice to be around people that know what it feels like to wake up and just like feel terrible about your weight and that you're working on it.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's me. I'm in a program. I talk about it on occasion. It's a 12-step program, just like AA, but it's for people with food disorders, and that's really opened my eyes because I'm a binge eater, I'm an emotional eater, I'm a grazer, I'm a restrictor, I'm everything, right? And a couple months ago, I thought I was just weird. Yeah, like I thought I was the only person that would hide eating from their wife or uh not eat in front of my family, but as soon as they walk out of the room, I'm in the cupboard. Uh but being in this program, I've been in meetings on Zoom that have had up to like 300 people, and they all get what I'm going through. They've either been there or they are there right now. And it makes all the difference in the world when you've got somebody there that's like, hey, I get it. I know. So I say to my podcast all the time, I'm sure people are sick of hearing it, but I say, get a support group, join one on Facebook, all that. And that's what works for me. I make a post if I'm struggling. Well, I try to make a post when I'm struggling, and usually it gets, reeled in. So it's always great to have that, that tribe.
Group therapy is fantastic, man. And I have my degree in psychology, and I went through all different schools of therapy in undergrad, but group therapy is fantastic for anyone that's listening to this. I mean, if you ever have any doubts, just go, because I've said it before, I'm sure to you guys and on my podcast as well, but like, your worst day is someone else's like dream day, right? Like you think you're at the lowest of lows, and you go to a group therapy session and you're like, whoa, okay, I'm taking things a little too seriously in my life, because that guy's got it bad. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you can relate and try to help uplift that person. I try to make it joking, but I mean, it really opens your eyes to what your perceived struggles are, and it may put you in check. It's like, oh, you're really not in that bad of a position. You can get yourself out of this, and here's how. And then ultimately, it's like when you get to a point in your journey, you start giving back. It's a beautiful thing too.
Yep. And it's okay to struggle, like you were saying, with people. Like, it's totally normal to have those moments where you're like, oh man, what am I gonna do? And yeah, so like you mentioned earlier, David, the therapist. Like, I'm in therapy. I'm in two different therapy. I've got one with my wife, and I've got one that deal with, my food addiction and all sorts of things. And I absolutely love it. Another thing I forgot to touch on earlier, when you said, what works for you might not work, and there's tons of different options, whether it's keto or intermittent fasting. Yeah, that's a big thing. It's not a one size fits all, with all this. And there's so many options out there that actually work. It's awesome.
It's got to be sustainable and easy for you.
Yep.
That's what I've found. I mean, you got to figure out what's going to work for you, what's going to be effective and sustainable and easy. Because let's face it. I mean, you didn't get fat going out of your way to do things. You want maximum efficiency. You want maximum efficiency, and that's how I always looked at it. I'm like, how can I create a really nice, healthy dish, but not take a whole Sunday to meal prep for the week?
Yep.
Because I'm not doing that. I'm not. I mean, like, I've got friends that do it, and then they're all ripped, and I'm like, yeah, no. I'll do 20, 30 minutes every night cooking dinner. No big deal. But spending 6 hours on a Sunday meal prepping, I'm good. You can have that.
Yeah, I think having that dedication for meals alone, or realizing how much of a challenge meals can be, because I know you guys have heard me talk about it, just the habit of walking around the grocery store, of following the same line puts you with the same foods. Those same foods put you in the situation where you're at. Breaking that habit, that route that you have of, I'm going directly to aisle A, halfway down, halfway up, and there's the Funyuns, kind of thing. And I think that's where a lot of people, when they go, where do I start at? I think mentally knowing that
Produce.
Yeah, produce. Start at the produce section. There's a reason it's on the front part.
Yeah.
You start there. But I think mentally, when a lot of people are struggling on where do I start at, is you got to take a breath, realize that a lot of your habits, a lot of your comfort zones are going to be, changed a little bit. And when you talk about, you got to do what's comfortable for you, is you have to step into that. And I know with everyone that I always talk to, I always add food. I'm the guy who says, okay, sure, you want McDonald's and everything, that's great. Here, have this salad first, or have this food first, or try to get these food goals in. I'm huge on just fiber. Most people, where do I start? Try to get 30 grams of fiber a day. That's where you start. Just look for that one thing, look through the grocery store, and you'll find that most everything that has fiber is healthy for you. So just telling them to start, that one spot. If you get your 30 grams of fiber, go eat whatever else you want. But the trick to that is usually when you eat enough, produce or enough whole grains or whatever, or enough beans to get 30 plus grams of fiber, really not that hungry. And I don't want to eat anymore. Goal achieved.
Yeah, I think also that one of the key things that I was focusing on that kind of relates to that too is I knew when I started, I was like, because some people, I've fallen into this a lot when I was trying and failing before is I would say, okay, I'm gonna drink 2 liters a day, and I'm gonna walk 10,000 steps a day, and then I'm gonna also have this many veggies. And so I set way too many goals, and it just like felt like a failure when I wasn't accomplishing all of them. So this time I wanted to start simple, and so I just kept it real simple. 2,000 calories a day was pretty much my only rule at the start. And as I'm progressing, I'm adding other things like, okay, maybe I'll limit my diet soda. Maybe I'll do these other, exercises. But I think that's the other recommendation I would give people starting out is don't overburden yourself with like 50 rules.
Yep.
Just pick a few to start off with.
Well, how I usually put it is that you think about, we all have kids, right? So you didn't just throw a 5-course meal in front of your kid the first time they ever had real food, right? You slowly introduce foods to your child over time. And for me, how it worked this time for me is I slowly took all that stuff away from myself, right? So it was like, just drinking coffee black or taking away soda. Because I grew up on drinking Coke, right? We had Coke in the house. We had Jolt in the house to age myself there. Twice the caffeine and all the sugar. So, Coca-Cola was a product in my house all the time. Pizza was a food group. So for me, I slowly just removed all that stuff. It was like, okay, let's remove sodas, right? Go from like 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 to none, more and more water. Let's get rid of processed foods or fried foods and stuff like that. And it was just, just making that funnel smaller and smaller and smaller of all the bad habits and over time. And, you're going to relapse, but now it's like when I relapse and have all those things, I feel like crap for like three days, man. So it's really easy not to make those decisions. Or if I have it, I have, like Lou says, like a normal person's like portion size, right? I eat like a normal person rather than just like, having a massive plate of food. But yeah, I think you're doing 100% the right way, man. It's extremely commendable, and I can't wait to watch your journey. It's
Definitely.
it's great. It's the same thing, with Luke and Corey too. Like these guys are absolutely crushing it. It reminds me of when I was going through it too, and it helps me get up at 4. Like tomorrow morning when I get up at 4 to go ride my bike for 20 miles. It's like that kind of stuff. I think about, okay, on Monday I have my podcast. On Sunday I talk to these guys. It's an extra way of keeping myself even more accountable as far as eating and staying on point with exercise for me. Because I know for me, I have to do the exercise piece of it, because that's how I earn my day, and that's how I set up my day, is by getting up and getting out there and doing something. If not, I'm not right. It throws my whole day off. But that's me though. That's how I do it.
Yeah. Little changes make big changes, man.
Yes, sir.
I love that. And you had to brag about your 20-mile bike ride.
I did like 30 something today, but I did 77 a couple weeks ago, so it's all good.
Well, and I think knowing what habits you want to be
Right.
in and what you want to do with those habits, it is good to have as goals. One of my habits is to get up early and to exercise, and I've 100% failed at that so far. It's not happened, but it's one of those things that every week I keep checking myself. And when I struggled with stopping drinking, I told you guys this, and I've told it on my channel and stuff, is having that question of why. I didn't stop. I stopped abruptly when I did, but it was like 6 months of asking myself, why do I need this? Why do I want that? So I'm still in that process of, people will be like, man, you just all of a sudden started working out one day and that was it. Yeah, but for me, I'm still at that every morning. Why didn't I get up an hour earlier? Why didn't I go to bed an hour earlier? So I have that question of why. And I'm a slow learner. It may take me 3 months to get there or whatever. And I'm okay with that because finally I get tired of listening to myself ask myself why. That it's like, just shut up already. I'm gonna go do it. All right, we're done.
Yeah, see, for me, I don't always pop out of bed. I mean, when I first started doing this, I'd have to, I first started off with my alarm clock, next to me. I'd shut it off. I'd put my alarm clock across the room. I'd get up across and walk across the room and shut it off and go back to bed. Then I would put like a series of clothes and roadblocks to my alarm clock to see if I could trip myself enough to wake myself up. No. Then I went and got even like really more like louder, most annoying alarm clock ever. No.
Is it the one that vibrates?
Well, I would never get out of bed then.
My
No.
mom got me one a long time ago that had a little plate that you put underneath your pillow or whatever, and it
Oh
would,
no. Now mine like the one I have now, like literally every morning, like scares the crap out of me. Like it jolts me awake. And when I'm like, okay. And once I figure out like how to like slam it off, by that point, I'm already up. I just take the CPAP off and it's go time.
no
But
going
I
back.
I used to have an alarm clock when I was traveling all the time. I think it was called like the Screaming Eagle or something like that, like 120 decibels. The thing was just ridiculous. I don't care if you hit snooze right away, the ear piercing noise that it made, you were up. My wife still, every once in a while, she'll say something about that alarm clock. I wish I had it back because, it was one of those things that it was bad. Sorry, my own little tangent of a story that I caught here that nobody's relating to. Like, okay, talk on about an alarm clock already.
There's a comedian that talked about they need to invent an alarm clock that sounds like a baby throwing up. So like you hear
was
that
a
and you're
cat
out of
throwing up.
bed.
But yeah, it's either a baby or an animal throwing up. You're like, huh, huh. Yeah,
I'm up.
definitely.
But David, what is there anything else that you want to add? Anything you want to toss around before we bring her down?
No, I can't think of anything else. A, if anybody wants to follow me on my Instagram, it's at Real David Packer. And I only really do YouTube and Instagram right now, just because those I wanted to keep it limited and focus on those two. But no, nothing else I have.
So
Yeah, and we'll put those in the description as well if we can, so people can find you.
Absolutely. If you just shoot us a link down on the chat, the Facebook chat or whatever, so I can just copy and paste, because if I have to spell it out, it's going to be wrong.
Okay.
it's true. It's true. Corey is not good with the words and spelling.
No, not at all. Not at all. One thing that I'd like to ask, especially people who are watching and from you guys and stuff, what kind of content do you want to see? What things are you wanting answered? What questions, what goals and stuff would people have in mind? And I think we'll just do a quick little roundtable. Adam, since you speak the longest, we'll get to you first. What
We're not on a time limit now, though.
Yeah.
what questions, what goals and what things would you like to see out of this channel? Where's the future at for you?
Well, for me, I mean, that's a really good question, Corey. You can't spell, but you have damn good questions. That's for sure. I mean, I know. I mean, like with this channel, I want to see this channel keep doing what it's doing. Right? We met David. David's awesome. I can see us having another conversation with him and following up with him, right? And seeing how your journey is going. It's all about keeping accountable and sharing this wealth of knowledge we all have. Like we know way more about this journey than I think a lot of times we let ourselves believe. But having these conversations, it really kind of like flushes all that stuff out. And that's a good thing. But I know I'm not answering this question because I've already forgotten it. So
Okay, then we'll just go right to Luke. Luke, what kind of things do you want this YouTube channel answering? What kind of goals do you want to see with it? Where do you see the future of it lying?
I like the idea of helping people. So I would love to bring more people on, like we did with David. Um, just any motivation, inspiration, and good times. Like one thing I always say is surround yourself with positivity and love. And that's what I want to do is put out positivity and love, and it's going to come back to us. And yeah. So just I like Adam said, keep doing what we're doing and pushing it and helping. That's it.
So, David, with you, I will reword the question a little different. What did you expect from our podcast, or what did you expect from this kind of experience?
Well, I kind of expected how it's gone so far because I've seen a couple of your all's other episodes, and so just coming on here, I kind of knew it was going to be something where we have the support for one another. We have the camaraderie of knowing what each other has been through. Even though I don't know you all that well, you automatically know a lot about me by knowing where I am right now and what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I think that I expected that, and it's been really great on the show. And like you said, I would definitely love to be back, hopefully with some success later on, whenever it may be. Come back on and talk about how things are going.
Or man, if you're struggling and you need to get back
Yeah,
on that bus, man,
yeah,
just give us a holler. We can talk through it. We can find out where you went off the rails and then help you get back on.
exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of where my goals are, as I want to be able to be that hand that reaches out whenever you do fall. I want us to be able to automatically relate and be willing to jump in where people are at their worst. A lot of people only want to do things that benefit themselves, especially when you go onto Facebook at times and you ask for help. You get people saying, "Hey, I can help you for $5.95 a month," or whatever. I really want us to be kind of a reference of, a knowledge base, so to speak, of where, hey, if I need help, I can get more than one direction of help at one convenient time. I want us to be able to continually, not only, I can't think of the word now. The words are troublesome for me. Not only, uh, yeah, I want us to be self-motivation as well as motivating others. I think one of the stories that I've never gotten right, just because it's those words again, and me and those words are troublesome. But, a lot of times the best way to help yourself is to start helping others. And through that process of reaching out and sacrificing yourself and your time, after a little while, you turn around and you realize that watching the development and the growth of the people around you that you've reached down and you've helped have actually, in turn, they've been helping you the entire process through. And that's where I kind of want to be at with things, is be willing to be the people who are willing to help and be there, because I know watching that growth, watching that development, and watching people, accomplish things, it's not me helping them. They're actually going to be helping me.
Isn't that a little bit of that servant leadership? I think it's called
Mhm.
something like that.
Sure. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, I think about it's like sometimes I'll think that someone's like, "Man, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. You're helping me more than you know." And I just think like you have no idea that you're helping me. Like you're the reason I'm doing this is because you're motivating me to keep it up. And
yeah. Sometimes
yeah.
that pat in the back and that attaboy is huge.
Oh yeah.
The verbal praise is something a lot of times we never get, right? Because we constantly beat ourselves up in different ways. When someone does that, it's like, "Hey, man, that was awesome, thank you." And you're like, "What? Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm gonna do that again right now. Let's keep doing that."
Right.
That's all it really takes for it to click and for it to go and for it to start building on it and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I
that's
was
like,
thinking about the other day about part of me almost felt a little bit guilty getting so many people saying like, "Hey, thanks for sharing your journey. It's inspiring." That because I put myself in this situation. It's not like I came upon some disease and now I'm like working through it. And to get people kind of uh, saying that that I inspire them when I put myself in a bad situation. At first, I was like, "Well, don't look to me. Like I screwed things up." But I think another way of thinking about it that I thought about now that I try to have the outlook on is that yes, I put myself in this situation, but maybe it is somewhat honorable and admirable that I'm here and I did it to myself, but I'm also taking the steps to get out of it. So I appreciate when they say that now.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to personal accountability, right? You're saying, look, I admit I have faults and I'm working on it. I mean, I'm putting myself out there to do so. And I think a lot of people are so busy at pointing the finger at someone else for the fact that one, you're taking the blame for it. You're saying, yeah, I got myself into this mess, but here's how I'm getting out of it. Come with me on my journey and help me help myself. And I think a lot of people, I mean, it's brave, man. I mean, it's not kind of it. It's 100% brave just to do that yourself. So don't downplay that, man. That's awesome. The fact that you say, "Hey, look, I've gotten in a real bad spot, but I'm fixing it, and here's how I'm doing it, and I want to share this with you." And again, like I said before, you do it with such a calm confidence, which is fantastic. It's like I don't know you, but I believe in you. I believe that you're going to do what you say you're doing, just because you're so methodical about it. You have this plan, like I know you have that vision board or whatever it may be, probably behind you. It's like, hey, here's my steps of doing this. And you can see that it's a very well thought out thing. Just like we plan out these huge meals we want to eat, you kind of reverse engineer that to like losing the weight. So
Thank you.
kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I was told recently was, I've had people reach out to me and say, you're inspiring me. Well, let's say I've had 10 people send me a message. There's 20 other people that haven't messaged you that you've been reaching and doing it. And yeah, man, keep it up. I'm really excited to watch more of your videos. And like the guy said, I can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. That would be hopefully with some good news. But like you're saying, no matter the state, I would love to come back.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap up for right now. You can follow each and every one of us. I will make sure to try to put everybody's YouTube channel on their little corner here. I won't have a YouTube video, showing that. So if you want to see more of our videos, make sure to come to Trimming the Fat here on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook on Trimming the Fat support group. You can find each and every one of us. I'm Life is Reality. We have Fat to Chubby with Adam there. Luke Loses, multiple podcasts. There'll be links in the YouTube channel below. I don't know what we can put on Facebook for sure, but the link will be back in our Facebook support group. Ask any question that you guys want. It doesn't really matter if you want to private message any of us. I'm sure I'm open to that. I'm sure all the other guys are, fairly open to that as well. So if not, I just threw you all under the bus, and guess what? You may get some personal questions.
There you go.
David, greatly appreciate you on. I greatly appreciate your videos. They're awesome. The real David Packer. I've been wanting to say Parker all night long. I'm sorry. I got a buddy, but check out his videos. They will be linked below as well on the YouTube channel. There will be a link to his channel as well. So anything else you guys want to add on that? All right. Good
Nope.
night.
We're good.
We'll see you next Sunday. Feel free to give any ideas you want on what videos you want to see. Thanks, guys.
See you.